Hello on a Whim listeners, and welcome to season 3's episode 8 of the On a Whim podcast. And I just realized I'm being really selfish with these openings. I don't think I've let anyone else open up the podcast, and I'm like, should I have asked if anyone else wants to open up these episodes and ask around, like, Shadoe, Jabari, do you guys want to do any of these openings ever, or is it like Paul has monopolized them as the evil CEO he is?
I'm good. I'll let you do it. Shoot.
I mean,
I've been fine with it.
You're so good at doing it, Paul. And also consider, is that a power that you want to put in Shadoe's hands?
The opening of the podcast? I mean, okay,
yes.
So for the record, Shadoe, I put a lot of power already in your hands. I mean,
that is true.
Like, you know enough about the studio to do some damage. So, I mean, and especially with this voice, like, you can make me sound like I'm high on helium. Like, I'm sure you have that kind of...
I certainly could make you sound like a chipmunk.
Yes. So you have that power. So, like, I don't know what more power you want me to give you. Like, I've already given you the keys to the kingdom at this point. Like,
I mean, minus the actual keys.
Oh, we don't have keys anymore. We don't have an actual
I know.
building.
That's the point.
Like, the only keys I have left are, like, to my lockable file cabinet and the P.O. boxes. And, you know, those aren't very many keys.
Yeah. And there's nothing really interesting in there anyway, so
nothing that would interest Shadoe and Shadoe's endeavors. So
yeah, nothing that I can use for my evil purposes.
Exactly. We're just gonna just keep going. It was evil.
Yep.
Yeah, that SpongeBob episode. Anyways, I'm Paul.
I'm Shadoe.
And I'm Jabari.
And once again, we are Sans Grover this episode. Another thing,
was he still in the audience?
Yeah, yes. He's still in the audience. Another thing I noticed is I dropped using my last name and you guys have followed suit. Just out of nowhere, I just noticed that. I don't know why I dropped using my last name. I'm okay with whatever.
I never used my last name.
You are the artist formerly known as Shadoe. I'm quite aware of this. So hey, I'm good with that. That's like half my day job is go with the flow.
You're a trendsetter, Paul.
Hey, every now and then I gotta be good at something, right? So listener, contrary to popular belief, Paul doesn't always has his shit as an adult put together. For whatever reason, Shadoe has told me repeatedly, Paul's the most well-adjusted adult here, and I'm like, what? How? What are we using as a what's base competence, right?
Better than me.
Then again, I've never driven anyone to alcohol as far as I know, but a lot of people.
You're not wrong.
I know a lot of people that said I've irked their souls, and I'm like, that's right. I've irked people's souls. I'm like, I'm good with that. And I think
I'm so intrigued. What did you do to irk somebody's soul?
I think it's because you two can tell me I'm right or wrong, but I'm generally a positive, bubbly person, right? Like, unless I'm exhausted, I always have a smile, good things to say. Like, I'm engaged with conversations. Like, what you see is what you get with me. Like, I'm a pretty readable book. Listener, you might have picked this up over the last few episodes. I really don't change as an individual. Paul's Paul. That's what it comes down to, right? And I guess that's not everyone's cup of tea. And there are people that rather not have a big steaming cup of Paul in the morning. So I get it. I understand. In my former life, working in juvenile corrections, one kid woke up in the morning. I woke him up and he's trying to get up and get going. His first words to me were like, F you, Vela, and then roll back and went to sleep. So.
Wow.
How about you, Barry? You remember my war stories, don't you?
Yeah, I remember Matt.
Rip. Rest in peace.
Rest
Oh, Mac.
in peace, good
I
sir.
don't think I've ever told the Mac story on the podcast, and that'll easily make
think
this
we
go
can.
from like PG-13 with an occasional F-bomb getting dropped to like this is rated R, like parental
Oh no.
guidance is advised. Mac was a very he passed away unfortunately, but Mac is a coworker that had a very unique perspective on life, shall we say. But I think that you get to a certain age as an adult, we all get certain perspectives, right? Like right now, if you're an adult listening to this podcast, file your mother effing taxes. All right. It's near the end of March, people. Yeah, we're more than halfway through the month when this episode releases. April's around the corner, so me as an adult, if I'm not filed by like the end of March, I'm panicking, and I pull a complete kind of like how Grover used to be when he's running out of gas. You guys remember that? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
You remember? I remember. I feel that way. Like I start
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. I start feeling like I haven't completed that, right? Or like when my car's the oil change, I go even a couple hundred miles over. I'm having like anxiety about it. Cause it's just one of the check your oil too, people. Check your oil, motherfuckers, okay? Yes.
Paul, you and I are two very different people.
Okay. All right. Story time, listener. Story time. As we left Shadoe's house to go to Level Up Expo pre-pandemic, this is 2019. I go and we transfer stuff from my car to Shadoe's car, and the Shadowmobile, right? And Shadoe's parental unit tells us just make sure you check it for coolant and oil. And after we left, I don't think we checked that vehicle for either coolant nor for oil any of the days. And like it was warm for Vegas standards by that time. So yeah. So yes, it has dawned on me that I'm being a little hypocritical, but I'm encouraging everyone to not only check their oil but file their taxes. So I'm gonna just do a little roundtable real quick as the adults, right? We are how we file our taxes. So I have a guy. He's been doing my mom's taxes for years. He does my uncle's taxes. He's like the family tax person, right? Prepares them. And I love him to death. But sometimes I have to reel him in. Like he tells me, like, oh, this could be a discount. This can be a write-off. This can be a write-off. And he knows where to push and where not to push. And, education credits and this and that. And my losses in the stock market. And I like that I have a professional doing my taxes. Yes, do I pay for that service? Absolutely. It's not even a percentage. It's not even 10% of my final tax return. It comes out to be. But I get more from the tax return than I would from just paying him. Whereas I would feel TurboTax, I feel like I would be guided by the book. Do you have this? If yes, yes. If no, then move on, right? Especially when it comes to me and Jabari being part owners of the studio, we have that special form. You get that form, right, Jabari? I made sure to send it to you.
Yeah,
the Schedule K1.
I did my taxes last night.
See, look at you being the awesome adult I know you are. Shadoe, did you do your taxes?
Actually, yes.
Oh.
Yes, my taxes have been filed for a while, but I'm not usually in charge of my taxes. So, I usually just give all the paperwork to my dad and let him figure it out.
I felt so I had this swelling of pride for you. Like, I'm so proud. And then you said that and I'm like, and there it goes.
Okay, but here's the thing. My taxes tend to be complicated because of everything I do.
Yeah, so all your 1099s would be a nightmare.
Yeah, so but for this tax season alone, I had my ranger job, I had my substitute teaching job, I had studio stuff, which I didn't really have to count, but I did anyway. And then I have my Etsy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have freelance musician stuff, but I usually don't make enough for that to count. So like just all of that combined just like makes it such a nightmare where like if I was making enough money doing all of these things, I would probably hire a guy. But I mean, my dad is retired, so he has the time to deal with it.
No, that's more than fair. So listener, if you have no idea what these words we're saying mean, there are two tax forms you receive as someone who gets compensated. There is the standard employee form, which would be a W-2, which is your employee compensation, right? It says how much you've paid into certain federal, tax and whatnot, and if you have it set right, and then you get more money or less money depending on how much you put towards tax paying at the end of the year, right? And then if you're an independent contractor, meaning not employee compensation, you receive a 1099 form. Usually a MISC is what it's called. There's other 1099s, but for general practice independent contractors, you get a 1099 MISC. There is a minimum amount you should file taxes over. Again, just to clarify, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a tax professional. Consult a CPA if you want to get the most accurate certified public accountant or some firm to get the right numbers. But according to Google University, if you made less than $12,000 as an employee, you do not have to file taxes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, but if your unearned income was more than $1,050, you must file a return. So there's like yes and a bunch of if statements. If you do this, then this. So I mean that's how TurboTax works. But let me ask you both: how do you guys file your taxes? Besides Shadoe already answered that. Jabari, how do you file taxes?
So usually what I was doing was actually I try out different things. Like when Credit Karma had their tax thing going on, I would do that for free. I'm using that, and then my taxes got a little bit more complicated with with my personal business and then Whim indie business. So I went to I guess a CPA at like H&R Block, and I tried her for 2 years, but then she started getting expensive. I'm not sure if she was taking advantage of me or not, but I was paying like $1,000 for following my personal and my
oh yeah,
and
you
my
were getting
business
ripped.
taxes. Yeah,
off.
yeah. So once I figured that out last year, I was just like, all right, nope, fuck that. So now, like this year, I just went with TurboTax, and just followed their little system and stuff like that. They charged me about $200 or so because I have certain like 1099s and stuff like that was included into that. And I was just like, there's no hassle or anything. Like with H&R Block, talking with the people and stuff like that, I don't want to talk to anybody. I really just want to give my paperwork and stuff like that and then call it a day. But it wasn't like that. So I got ripped. I got socially overwhelmed and shit like that. And I was just like, all right, gonna go somewhere else.
So Jabari, now that you're back in California, because I don't know if the listener needs to know this or not, but would you be willing to meet my tax person? Because it sounds like you would greatly benefit from my tax professional. Because it's just sitting there and he might ask you some questions. So you might get a little socially overwhelmed, but it's like one guy sitting there and he's going to just ask you some questions. And then, I think you would, and it's not as expensive as anything you've been paying. I'm not going to advertise the name. I don't want to put my tax professional on blast because he's my tax professional. Damn it. But he's we can talk about it, Jabari. Hopefully you're willing to try it. Yeah. Well, we can talk about it off the air. Anyways, Shadoe, you were sharing that you've gotten new employment opportunities, right?
Yeah.
As any part of you as an adult in your social media postings, shit postings. Let me be real. You're a shit post. You're a shit poster, Shadoe.
I am, and I am proud of it.
Has that like affected your employment opportunities at all, or if it affected anything when it comes to that?
So, I do have a story about this, and Paul knows what the story is because I told it before we started recording, but I'll tell it for the benefit of the listener. So, listeners, always be careful what you post on social media, and always be careful of like who you accept as your friend on social media. Luckily, I've never had anything bad happen, but I definitely have had a oh shit moment. So, the oh shit moment, for those of you who might not know this, I am a shit poster. And what that means is I see a meme. Paul's just like, yeah, old news. No, but what that means is I see a meme and I will share it. Generally speaking, my rule of thumb is if it made me laugh, I'm going to share it. If it made me go, interesting, I'll share it. I mean, I've shared all kinds of random ass stuff. Like, that's just who I am as a person on Facebook. Now, every once in a while, I will actually post something relevant to my life. And I will actually, like, type out a post and post that. So, one such occasion, I typed out a post saying, hey, I need to record some dog barks for a video game. Who has dogs they're willing to let me record? And then about a week later, I had a job interview for a full-time position where I currently work. And partway through the interview, one of my bosses mentions, oh, I saw your post, by the way, if you still need dog barks, I have my dog here. You can record him. And I had this oh shit moment because I realized my boss can see my Facebook posts.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Jabari's just like, oh no.
I hear that like TikTok song, the oh no.
Oh no.
As the song, like the TikTok zooms in on Shadow's face in the interview.
Yep.
Oh no.
So based on the things that I post, I was just like, oh no. Because there are things that I post that you definitely don't want to like talk about in a professional manner. So I realize in hindsight, I never responded to my boss saying that I could record his dog because I was having like an internal anxiety moment of just like, oh no.
Yeah, that's traumatizing.
Of course, you know, my brother also works at the same place. He does something way differently than I do. He works in our admin office doing really different work than what I do. But he works with my boss quite frequently, and I actually brought that moment up with him, and he was like, man, he's like our age, you know, he's cool. Like, I'm like, yeah, but he's still my boss.
I mean, technically, Shadoe, me, Grover, Jabari, we're your bosses too. But you could not.
That is
true.
You
could not give two flying figs what we think.
Okay, but I mean,
like real bosses.
I went to high school. I went to high school with y'all. Like, you basically grew up with me. You know what I'm like. Like, this is somebody I met. Like, he was my boss from like day one.
Okay.
So, like, I mean, he is a little like he's like a couple years older than me. So, like, he is a millennial. So, like, definitely he probably laughs at the memes and everything. But still, like, be very careful, listener, who you allow to follow you on social media, because like if my boss and all my other two bosses weren't so like chill about these things, I feel like I could definitely end up in like a very strange professional situation.
An HR meeting waiting to happen is what Shadoe is. Got it.
Yes, because I mean, you know, the things I post, like I post like straight up like absolute BS sometimes. And other times I'm posting like really heavy like mental health stuff. So like definitely like sitting back and thinking about them, just like, oh,
and
I could
Oh.
yep. Oh no.
I'm definitely here for the mental health stuff. That's you raise awareness where it needs to be raised. Same question.
And
Yeah,
then,
go ahead.
yep. And then sometimes I just post sad things because I
Because
can.
Shadoe is sad.
Yes.
How about you, Jabari? Any run-ins with social media when it comes to like either your personal business or like you as a supervisor? Because or when you were a supervisor.
I haven't ran into anybody talking about my social media or anything, but I think I was on LinkedIn at one point, and they like did like a report or something like that, or a case study or some type of report where they stated that about 51% of employers today are actually checking out their people's Facebooks and or social media accounts before they actually hire you. So I was like, dang, 51%. So like every other employer, when you're applying for a job, is actually going to check out your personal information on social media. That's freaking scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I have like, my Facebook is just right now. My Facebook is blocked off from it's only for friends and family that have accepted my friend request or whatever. But yeah, I have also like I had Facebook in 2010 when they first that's when I first have it. So there's so much stuff, pictures and posts that I've made back then that were just stupid. Every time Facebook sends one of those like, oh, this is a post that you made 10 years ago, and I'm just reading it and I'm just like smacking my head so hard, like just this is so stupid.
Oh yeah,
and then
I got several of those as well.
Yeah, and you just hear on like celebrities, like they get called out for things that happened 15 years ago. They said something 15 years ago, and then suddenly they're canceled and stuff like that. And I would say a lot of stupid shit. So like if I ever got like famous or something like that, which I hope I don't, like somebody would definitely pull something up on my Facebook that I said this and this stupidly and use it against me or something like that.
But I think there's a difference between when you used it as a kid, like technically we're still kids if you in the grand scheme of things, right? We're baby adults, well, maybe middle adults at this point. We're in our not Jabari. Jabari hasn't hit the big 3-0 yet, so all in due time, my friend. You'll welcome to the brotherhood, the over 30 club. I think there's a difference between when you were a kid. I think there's more maybe grace when it comes to that, as opposed to when you're an adult and you've always been a shitty adult and you've done shitty things and said shitty things, right? So, it's one of those. I gotta let yourself grow up a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, grew up, but people at the internet do not give a shit how old you are. If you said this at whatever point in your life, they'll bring that up against you if they hate you enough.
That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
the troll brigade
artist named dojacat.
Yes, dojacat.
Dojacat. Maybe you guys heard of her, but
you've talked about her on this podcast.
My age, did I?
Yep.
Yeah.
She is a fine lady, crazy as hell, but
she
sexy lady.
She is easy on the eyes. Yes, go on, Jabari.
But I think like last year or something like that, she got called out. When she started getting famous, she got called out for something that she said when she was like in the early stages of high school. I think she's my age now, and it was just like, what the hell? Years have passed. She hasn't said any. It was something about a race or something like that. It was she said something ignorant about like black people or something like that. She's black too, but she said something that just wasn't somebody didn't take it nicely. Yeah. Taking it. But I was just like, wow, this is they're looking at something that this person said when 11, 12 years ago, when they were freaking like 14 or 15 or 16 and using it against them.
And see, that's the thing, right? The people who do that literally had nothing better to do with their time and their lives than go digging through this multimillionaire's social media accounts, going back, 10, 11 years in the past? Oh, look, she said something stupid when she was a sophomore. Oh, cancel her. Yeah. Yeah, you just... that reeks of that nerd from South Park in the Make Love Not Warcraft episode, just a guy on his computer. Yeah, it reeks of that.
I mean, honestly, though, the best way to avoid that is to make sure your privacy settings are, like, turned on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do actually filter out, like, half of the people from seeing my posts because, like, most of my posts are for a specific group of people.
Mm-hmm.
I just apparently didn't, filter out my boss, I guess. Yeah. So just, listener, let that be a lesson. Like, you don't want to end up like those celebrities or like in an interview with one of your potential bosses going, so we looked at your Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Can
like,
you explain
what's your settings?
Can you explain your stance on blank? And you're like, just your brain flatlines, not your heart, your brain flatlines. Because and especially, listener, if you even have an inkling for something that requires security clearance, because I have a story I can share. In my former life, I was a juvenile corrections officer, and part of my recruitment process, not only I never got polygraphed, they did a voice stress analysis, and they asked me some like graphic questions, and it was like, how can you not get a reaction from me? And they're like, well, your voice reacted when we asked you if you enjoyed this. And I'm like, because you're talking to me about very uncomfortable question. Like, how do you, like, I'm human. I'm going to react to it. And they just kind of want to see you explain why you do what you do, right? And how you react under pressure. So part of this interview process was log into your social media accounts and let me look through it. So my background person sitting with me right there was scrolling through. And I remember there was one picture. I was with some friends we were in college, but we over the age of 21. And I was at a friend of a friend's house. And their entire wall was that crappy hipster thing of, if you finish a liquor bottle, you put it on the wall. Yeah, that. So the background was all these liquor bottles, but it was me and a couple of my friends, and that was the background. So my background investigator was like, so you're an alcoholic, huh? And I'm like, no, hold up. This is before Shadoe drove me to alcohol, right? This is before that happened.
Hey, I don't turn people into alcoholics. I just let you reach your full potential.
Already Evil Incorporated. I might have an opening for you in my evil labs division, just so to let you know, as an evil CEO myself. So I had to explain the context of this picture and the location of this picture and what was going on. And it happened to be Halloween, or was it my birthday? I forget. But it was something very specific that I had to explain. So listener, if you have even aspirations of getting a job that requires security clearance, law enforcement, military, civilian contractors, whatever, be extra mindful of what you post. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Listener, it's Paul again, and I'm here once again to try to pitch you some of the best gaming experiences Whim Indie has to offer. Whim Independent Studios, LLC, Whim Indie for sure. That's how we rather go by. We like to keep things easy to say, easy to look up. There's not really many other Whim Indies. We're the only Whim Indie. And I want to encourage you to find us on Steam. Go ahead and find Whim Indie. Also, if you don't like Steam, it's okay. I get it. You know, Valve, they're doing that weird head guy thing with the Valve on his head. Yeah, that's a little creepy. I got you. I feel you. Go to itch.io and look up Whim Indie there as well. Go ahead and take a look at our demos. For Celatria, that's a turn-based RPG a la old school Final Fantasy. And look up Spellbearers, which is our take on the twin stick shooter, Smash TV, retro gaming. If you like those things, y'all, go ahead and follow us there, like them, download the demo, play it, and considering purchasing it. It's through these that will make this podcast keep happening. Tune in, week, interact. Go ahead and not only like this podcast, rate it, whatnot, but consider purchasing our products. It'll keep us going and let us know you like what we're doing. So again, go ahead and peruse what we got to offer. What we're selling, right? Because not what you're buying. And go.
I like how we were just like awkward about that transition.
Yeah, we can do our transitions better, Shadoe. I agree. Me adulting as a former correction officer, I'm a very different individual from those days. I think you both can see how I've changed since those days and how I am now.
Yeah, you're more happy and relaxed.
Less tired.
Way less tired.
You enjoy life more.
I like to think. If it wasn't for where I'm at now with my employment situation, I don't think I could do this podcast. There's no way. Like getting off from a graveyard shift or working a 16-hour shift at the place, and no, there's not a chance in hell.
No. I've only seen you a handful of times after your shift, and that was just so that you could like give me the leash to your dog so I could walk Sydney, and then you like disappeared into your house.
I remember that. I remember my mom would go to work, and then I'd be on the couch. I'd be like not in my PJs or anything, but I'd be dressed, and Shadoe would come, knock on the doors. All the dogs would bark, 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 bark. Like
Sydney would get excited, like I can hear her at the door.
Yeah,
already.
Sydney was ready to go, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, Shadoe, here's Sydney. 1 hour, okay, all right." And then Shadoe would leave with Sydney, my dog Sydney, and then I would go back and sit on the couch in the living room, and like close my eyes. And next thing I know, the dogs are barking again because Sydney and Shadoe are back, and like, "Oh, hi, Shadoe, thanks. Here's your money," and then yeah. Or I'd pay you for like once a month, right? I think that's what it would end up being.
Yeah, something like that.
Some arrangement. So, I was very tired.
I could tell.
Yeah.
Those were good times, though.
For you walking Sydney, yes. For Sydney and you, yes.
Yeah.
For me, Paul, no.
Yep.
Not gonna. Bad times.
Oh man, Sydney loved those walks.
Yeah, she's getting older though. Those walks are harder to come by. She doesn't have the same energy. And her hips are, you know how it is with shepherds.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, at least that means that she doesn't try to pull the people who's walking her into a bush.
Oh, Shadoe. You don't know this dog, do you? I thought you knew Sydney. I thought you knew this dog.
I was hopeful.
No, hope springs eternal.
She did almost do that once. She almost pulled me right into a bush because she saw a cat.
Yeah, she does love chasing smaller creatures. Jabari, don't ever bring your cats to my house. They okay. My dogs might not make it. Anyways, moving on from adulting. Again, listener, get your taxes done. Watch what you post on social media and whatnot. Have you two heard that there's going to be a Harry Potter universe, right? Video game coming out.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'll let Jabari go first.
Jabari! What are
Oh,
your thoughts?
shoot. I actually just saw that like an ad on Facebook for it, or somebody talking about it earlier today. So I was just like, whoa. And then after that, I haven't looked at what we're supposed to be talking about today. And then you guys were talking about it. I was like, whoa. So I'm trying to see like how long ago did they announce this thing?
A while.
I think it's pretty awesome.
I saw the first post on IGN. Again, I get my news sources, from a couple weeks ago, right? Either from Grover or IGN. So I saw this on IGN.
Got it.
And I just saw it yesterday.
I was just like, wow. So for me, I like Harry Potter, but I haven't read all the books. I finished I'm in book 5, and that stops indefinitely. And then for the movies, I watched up to The Goblet of Fire, so the 4th one, and then I kind of stopped from there. And I played some of the games as well. Like I played the first one. I really loved the first game on PlayStation when it came out. That was my jam right there. I was like, what is this? Harry Potter? All right, magic. I played the second one too, which was fantastic as well. I haven't played a third or anything like that. But I'm not too familiar with the Harry Potter world.
So hold up. These games, are they based on the movies, or are they like the Lego ones?
So no, it's not the Lego ones. It's the first one that they came out with was based off the Sorcerer's Stone.
Okay.
And it even had like the wizard chess levels and Quidditch and all that. So it was really fun and well done. Have you guys played the games before?
No, I don't think I've played any Harry Potter game.
I think I just played the Lego ones.
The Lego ones. Get out of here.
Hey,
you guys should totally try it out.
I think I played the Quidditch World Cup one.
You would.
Oh yeah,
I would.
Shadoe. I remember playing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, it wasn't. It was pretty fun. It was the whole Quidditch thing. But if you haven't played like the Sorcerer's Stone, I think they remastered them at some point. If not, just play them. Like the first one, for Sorcerer's Stone, the second one is great. The third one is okay. The fourth one is starts falling off. But the first and second one, you guys should totally play. I think you guys will really enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot.
So
I even played one for Game Boy Advance. I'm just like now. As I'm talking about, I'm just noticing how many of the freaking Harry Potter games that I actually played. But this new one, now I'm kind of even more excited. I'm just like, all right, yeah, I had a lot of fun with the ones in the past, so I want to try out. I have no information, like I don't know anything about how it's gonna look or what the gameplay is like. I just saw that there was an announcement for it, and that was it. So what do you guys think about it?
Shadoe, do you want to go next?
So I've heard about this game for a while. Harry Potter is always a hot topic within, the LGBT community. Because the creator of it just can't stop while she's ahead. When it comes to like Twitter posts. She's her own worst like opponent there. Yeah. So when I was younger, I loved Harry Potter because, it was just, magic and, 3 nerds in their own way, like coming together and being friends. Like, I was like, yeah, this is amazing. I love this. But then I got older and, I started paying attention to social media, and it's hard for me to get really excited about Harry Potter stuff now just because of like, I know that the creator is kind of a trashy person. Yeah. So, the overall hype for the game is there. Like, a lot of people are like, whoa, this game looks amazing. But we don't want to play it because we don't want to give her more money. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with it, is like, I might play that game when it goes on sale. like
Sure,
yeah,
I
get
get
it for a
that.
discount because like it looks fun and like something I would enjoy, but I also don't want to like give terrible people more money.
So the Grover Wimberly school of buying video games.
Yep.
Get it while it's on sale.
Exactly.
So I mean, so in my scenario, as you know, the Harry Potter fan I am, right? Yes, what J.K. Rowling is, she's got foot and mouth disease, right? I mean, she's done a great job of self-sabotage. What it just comes out to is, fandoms, they ship, they do this, they project onto characters and whatnot, right? And for me, if your community is doing this, let them do it. They're having fun, and let the kids play. Let the kids play. But then J.K. Rowling's like, no, I didn't write the character to be that way. And I can, as a content creator, you want people to understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, you got to be a shitty person about it, because that's what it comes down to, right? She's a shitty person about it.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but like she's been trying to like go back and change details of the stories to
George Lucas, got it.
Yeah, go back and like, well, not change the story necessarily, but change characters to fit a narrative to make herself look less of a shitty person. So, for example, Dumbledore, she went back, I think it was like a couple years ago, and she said, "Oh, Dumbledore is gay." But there was like no reason for her to say that, and there wasn't any like indication of that in the original story. So it's just like,
right.
Are you saying this because the LGBT community hates you right now, or is this like actually what you intended? So she does really weird stuff like that too, where it's just like very unnecessary.
So like illegitimate retconning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. To me, it just reeks of, you had your moment in the spotlight. Step away. Quit while you're ahead. Quit while you're making money.
Right.
Yeah,
and I mean, she's got other ideas to tell, like other stories. Because I mean, there's been other movies within the Harry Potter universe. Like, instead of going back and changing the Harry Potter stories, why doesn't she just create new stories with characters, that would support being like, look, I'm not as terrible a person as you think I am. Like she could have done that instead of going back and trying to change and rewrite the story.
Yeah. See, once you're done with it, you're done with it. I think that's where I stand.
Yeah.
But when it comes to kind of that mentality, right? Once you're known for making Harry Potter, like where do you go from there, right? Like we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We talked about how video game companies like From Software and actors that are typecast into something, right? Is J.K. Rowling always going to be that lady that made Harry Potter? So that was the hill she's willing to die on now, because that's all she's going to have. And now we know her as the crazy lady trying to retcon and gaslight the LGBTQ plus community. That's kind of where we are.
Okay.
If you yeah.
She didn't, yeah, but she didn't have to go that route. And I'm going to use another author as an example, Stephanie Meyer. Do you guys know
Twilight?
Yeah. So she's most known for Twilight, but she didn't like ride the Twilight train forever. She wrote a new book that became popular and has its own movie.
I've never heard of this.
The book is called The Host. So it wasn't as popular as Twilight, because it dealt with like
boom.
it didn't follow the vampire craze. So Twilight definitely came out like the perfect time, because everybody was like, "Ooh, Twilight and vampires." But the next book she wrote actually dealt with aliens, which I thought was kind of cool. And I actually liked that book better than the Twilight series. To be fair, I mean, there was a lot wrong with Twilight, but
where do we start?
But that's my point, is like she didn't go back and try to like rewrite characters or change things because she got popular and suddenly people were angry at her. She's just like, all right, cool. Let's go on and continue on to do this thing. And wrote other books that became fairly well known. Whereas J.K. Rowling, she's stuck on the Harry Potter thing and she can't let herself move on, you know?
I think did you guys see that there's an HBO Max special on like the actors of Harry Potter kind of come together, you know, without the ones that have moved on and passed away, right?
Yeah. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, and Daniel Radcliffe says in this trailer I saw says one of my greatest fears was, is this as far as I go? Like, have I completed the best thing in my life so far? Because you've played Harry Potter. Like, the cover of the books looks just like him. Right?
Yeah.
Either on purpose or, not on purpose. So it came down to that. And hearing an actor say that, I can understand why J.K. Rowling's willing to, die on this hill. But she's still a crappy individual for doing so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like as somebody who's a creative person, I think it's better to just kind of go, cool, that was really popular. What's next? As opposed to, well, I'm a one-trick pony.
And hey, that pony made a shit ton of money.
I mean, that is true. But imagine this, like, if she continued to expand and explore just the Harry Potter universe, like, not even talking about Harry Potter, like, exploring the different schools of magic. Like, she could have written off an entire spin-off series based off of, like,
those two schools. In Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, or she could have done one and been like, oh, by the way, there's a new magic school in America. Like, she could have done some really wild things there, and she didn't.
I mean, when they did
making Fantastic Beast right now.
See, that's exactly so. Based on that, Jabbar, I'm glad you said that. There is a wizardry school in America, and has similar houses to Hogwarts. Like, now you're formulaic, like Pokemon. We're back to that.
Yeah.
So,
which I think is odd because, like, I mean, I guess boarding schools in America do exist, but do they separate them into houses and stuff like that? Like, is that an American thing? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, there's like dorms, and like each dorm has its own, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they don't like
robot house.
Kind of so, like, clearly she was just writing on the fact that people really liked the house thing of Harry Potter and didn't consider like cultural differences. So, like, I feel like that's a failing on her part to not expand and look beyond what she's already written.
Right. No, that's a fair assessment, right? And unfortunately, this video game is getting, or fortunately, I don't know how, depends on what side of the fence you're on. Jabbar is really excited, having played former Harry Potter games, and Shadoe, you come in with your perspective.
Yeah.
And I can't, as the middle person, right, who has, I like the movies, I like the books, I don't like Rowling as the butthead she's being, but can I enjoy this game without feeling guilty? I don't know. That's gonna depends on when it comes out and how much I pay for it, right?
See, that's why I'm gonna wait for it to come on sale.
the Grover Wimberly School of purchasing video games.
Because then I get the best of both worlds. I'll enjoy the game, but I won't really be giving her any money.
You'll be giving GameStop money.
Exactly.
The funny thing for me is, like, when we're talking about this, like, when I was talking about it this whole time, like, I wasn't even thinking about how shitty of it this person was. Like, all of that just went over my head. I forgot that she's just such a crap person. And,
reminded you.
Yeah, you guys reminded me. I was like, damn, wait, hold up. This is all true. I was just reminiscing about I was just remembering, just like all the games that I played in the past and how involved I got into it. And like, since that whole debacle happened, I remember Well, I went out with my friends Reggie, Faith. You guys know, I think
Yeah.
you guys know them.
Yeah.
And Nicole. We went to like a Harry Potter like event out in LA, probably not even like 4 years ago. And this was before, we just found out that she was just such an ass. We were just having fun. I didn't know crap about Harry Potter. I only read up to that point, I think Sorcerer's Stone and the Secret, the second one. Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, and I would just like joke around with like they had like Harry Potter quizzes and such, and I would know none of the answers, and so I would put up some bullshit answers on there, like joke answers, and while like Faith and Nicole and stuff like that, they're
like,
into
you
Harry
pleb,
Potter.
you
first
year. Sorry, excuse for a Hufflepuff.
Oh man, speaking,
I haven't went.
Sorry.
I haven't went to an event with them since, that whole debacle. So it makes sense why we haven't went to an event since. But I don't know like their opinions and about the whole series and stuff like that. Like that's an interesting thing that I want to explore. And like you guys talking about it, I think this is the first time that I actually heard anybody talk about it in person, like of my friends group and how they feel about it and such. But yeah, it's just really interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think a lot of people I know really talk about it. Like, I mean, I see Facebook posts and whatnot. I only really know about it because I do follow a lot of like LGBT meme pages and stuff, and so that becomes a topic a lot in like the comment sections on things. And so like this game has been a hot topic for a while just because a lot of people are like, oh man, think of the possibilities within this game. This game is going to be amazing. We want to enjoy this, but we can't because then we'd be giving money to somebody who it was trash, So
I mean, the question becomes is how much money does J.K. Rowling get out of it?
That is true.
And I mean, when it comes like you pay realistically for a Gen 5 product, right? For this next generation of PS5, Xbox, whatever we're at. I should know there are corporate overlords. Sorry, Microsoft, forgive me. How much of that $65, $70 is J.K. Rowling getting, right? And then you have to decide how much of that is that worth you and is the trade-off, like for anything when it comes to like making a moral decision like that.
Yeah.
Is the fun you may or may not have going to be overwhelmed by the guilt that you experience by compromising your stance or your morals and whatnot, right? And I can't answer that question for anybody in this community. I'm the outsider looking in on this one. So, I was not gonna use my money, not because I don't want to play it, but because I don't get games when they first come out. I'll wait for all the bugs to get cleared by and
smart.
And whatnot. But what it looks like is it's a prequel to anything going on that J.K. Rowling's even involved in. Like it's exploring way before in like the 1800s, like early magic kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, it kind of, how much involvement does J.K. Rowling? It's her universe, right?
Well,
but
yeah.
How much involvement does she have?
And that's why a lot of people are really hyped for this because they don't think she's had a lot of involvement in this.
Mm-hmm.
And so they think because of her lack of involvement, this game overall will be really, really good. And so that's why I'm kind of like, ooh, I want to play. But at the same time, because I know it is her brand essentially, because like
right.
she is, the Harry Potter brand. That's why I'm waiting for it to go on sale or to buy it used. So that
Fair.
I get the fun, but she doesn't get my money.
Best of all the worlds.
Exactly.
So let me ask you guys this. Unless Jabari, you have anything else to add to the Harry Potter conversation?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So, what are some universes either fictional or whatnot, that you two would like to see explored that have not been done so by any mainstream media? How about that?
I don't know if I understand the question.
And let me start, right? So in high school, I read a book by Orson Welles. No, not Orson Welles. Not that one.
Didn't
it's
we
called
all?
Ender's Game. Yeah, Ender's Game was a book I read, and it's about future of humanity and inner space travel and dealing with one specific very hostile alien species to us, right? I think Starship Troopers levels of hostile, right?
Oh.
So Ender's Game deals with this kid named Ender, and the author is Orson Scott Card. That's what it is. That's where I got the confusion from. Orson Scott Card is the author, and they deal with committing mass genocide of the species to allow humans to continue to live, and the guilt that comes with that. And of course, this book's been around forever, and then they made a movie of it. So of course, me as the one who read the books, like, I'll watch the movie, but it's not gonna be just as good, right? And I was very disappointed how the movie did it. They try to make it like Independence Day, and I'm like, this movie is not Independence Day. So does that make sense? Like, is there any universe that you guys love and want to see it, like in a video game format or in a movie or something like that at all?
Yes. So for me, Aragon. Yeah. And I know that there might be somebody listening and like, hey, wait a minute. There is an Aragon movie. No, there isn't.
It doesn't exist.
No.
We don't count that.
We don't count that.
We don't talk about Aragon.
Okay, so but here's the thing, like the movie itself wasn't like terrible, but it's just the books happen in a very specific order, and the movie didn't really pay attention to that. So it like messed up those details that made the book, as magical as it was. And for me, somebody who absolutely loved the book series, that was devastating.
Right. Right.
And from my understanding of it, that movie did not do so well as far as like money goes. So they're not ever going to consider doing the sequel because it was a 3-series book.
3-book series.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Words.
My brain just went backwards. So, but it was like a 3-part, series, and they messed up the first part so badly that they just can't do the next 2. That makes me sad.
Yeah. Oh, like Avatar, right?
There is no movie in Ba Sing Se. Hey, they're making a live action series of that.
I thought they canceled it.
No, I thought they're still making it.
They're still making it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened was the original creators walked away from it.
Yeah,
they did.
That's why I thought they canceled it.
So no, they're still gonna make it because they've already invested like a lot of time and money into it. But the original creators walked away from it, which makes me very nervous.
Right?
I'm like, if the original creators walked away, are we gonna get another, M. Night Shyamalan disaster?
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes. Yeah, like
Jabari, yes.
We're gonna have, the Earthbenders needing like 6 different Earthbenders to pick up one little ass rock.
Right.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit, Jabari, and I hate you for that. I had to remember that movie existed.
Hopefully they actually pronounce Aang's name correctly. Yep.
Yeah. So Jabari, are there any universes you want to see explored?
I'm trying to think of books that I've read in the past, and I feel like most of them have already been made into movies. The first one that was coming to mind was actually there was one Japanese book that I was reading. I think it's called like the Fox's the fox's lips or whistle or something like that. The fox's whistle.
What
I
does
think.
the fox say? No, okay, I'll leave.
What does the fox say?
No, Paul.
But I don't
Bad
know,
Paul.
No.
I don't know. It's just a fox story. I'm trying to think of other ones. There's another one that I read, Gold Sick, but that's already an animation. But yeah, nothing's coming to mind. I was like, oh, the Game of Thrones, that would be nice to make into a TV series.
How about
I watched the freaking TV series. I never read the book. I watched the TV series.
How about the TV series that ends the right way?
That would be nice.
Like
yeah,
if you know George R.R. Martin gets around to finishing it in
Yeah,
his
what's up with that?
lifetime. So I'll end this episode on this question for the three of us. Which universe is your favorite? Like, out of all of them, the books you've read, or which fictional universe is your favorite?
Oh no. Why would you ask me such a question?
I mean, I can give you guys loading time. I'll go first. I mean, if you think of the Star Wars novelizations being a book, I mean, Star Wars will win hands down. But if I was forced to choose a universe that I'll always like partake in and will thoroughly enjoy, I have to say it's the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That series, right? C.S. Lewis, right? It's that universe, and not just because of the strong Christian overtones, but it's very well written, and the character development and the movies don't do those books any justice.
They don't,
in my opinion. So I mean, just even the memes we got out of it, right? The memeability of things, and don't cite the deep magic at me, which I was there when it was written, right?
I love that meme.
Just things like that, and C.S. Lewis can't ruin it. He's already moved on to the great author's box in the sky, so I'm safe, right? Can't retcon what you already created after you're dead. You can't retcon it. So I love that series. So how about you guys?
For me, I guess a universe. I always loved the Legend of Zelda universe, that medieval. So I feel like right now, two of us are aiming towards like the medieval kind of period with magic and such. So that's kind of interesting.
Is it my
Shadoe?
turn?
Was that enough load time?
That was. Oh man, so I'm actually torn between two different universes.
Give us both.
Star Wars and Star Trek.
Okay. I know where this is coming from. I got you. Go ahead. Why Star Wars?
I mean, Star Wars I think would just be fun to live in, like so like that's where I come from, is like I want to experience more Star Wars just because like I like to imagine myself living in that time period and being able to be like a force sensitive person, or like be able to like fly spaceships and go on adventures. Like,
oh hell
yeah, right?
So,
like,
and Star Trek.
Yeah. So Star Trek, the reason I like Star Trek is because it's a more diplomatic version of Star Wars.
Before the Empire.
Yeah.
Before the
like the whole idea is to like go out and explore space and meet new peoples and encounter new ideas. So it's more looking at it from more of a scientific perspective as opposed to an adventure side. But I want both adventure and science. This episode in a nutshell. Thanks, Grover.
Trek Wars. Trek Wars.
I was gonna say something, but then I got distracted.
Squirrel.
Basically. I guess no. So the other day I took a Star Trek quiz on what Enterprise.
Can I guess what captain you are?
I mean, I did answer that question in the comment section.
No, I don't know. I didn't see your post.
Okay, yes. What captain?
Can I? Okay. I'm going to guess you are Kirk.
Yes.
Somehow.
He's like,
I can.
I don't know. He's got the adventure side, but I mean, he's also got the sciencey side. Plus, he's best friends with Spock. I would totally be friends with Spock.
Spock would be your first officer, yeah.
Yep.
For sure. If I had to answer that question, which Star Trek person I am, it would I'm somewhere between Kirk and Jean-Luc Picard. Just me, how I handle things and how I look at things, and I'm not quite Spock, all logical, but then you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it just. How about you, Jabari? Any Star Trek? Go.
I've never seen Star Trek before.
See,
what captain am I? Am I one of the?
You're probably Voyager.
The red ones.
Voyager.
You're probably Voyager.
You mean?
Is that a red vest guy? That
no.
dies?
Voyager was
Captain
Janeway.
Janeway.
Yeah. She was cool.
Always lost. Always lost.
That is true. But willing to sacrifice anything for coffee, which is actually why I'm surprised I didn't get Janeway. But I mean, when I'm lost with a purpose.
You are. It's true. I've seen it. And listener, I hope that you're not lost. And if you were when you found us, I hope you found a nice home here, a nice comfortable place where you can come hang out with our little nerd family we're forming here. We're eight episodes into season 3, and as we come down to the double digits, we hope to bring more diverse cast of characters coming along. So maybe some voice actors. It all really depends on how progress we make on our finishing our games up as we come towards the middle of 2022. Oh God, why? The year's going by way too quick, y'all. Listener, go ahead and like, subscribe our YouTube channel. Go ahead and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate it, give us 5 stars, or whatever the highest star quality you can give us. Go ahead and go to discord.gg/Whimindie. Go ahead and join our community. Follow us, nerds. Join the Whim Indie news network, also known as Grover.
And if you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and tell us in the comments, what Star Trek captain would you be?
Yes. Or in the Discord too. We might have to get that conversation going as well. But yes, YouTube. Tell us what captain you are. I am not sure. Debatable. So, I've been Paul.
I've been Shadoe.
And I've been Jabari.
You two were so close to timing that.
Yeah.
I was like, are they gonna go? Or
Yeah, exactly. And this has been the On a Whim podcast. Y'all keep it nerdy.